Hello, this is the Tradesight U.S. Stocks and Futures Market Preview for Friday, the 24th of June, 2016. Surprise, doing a market preview for Friday. It's less about anything I think about Friday and more about some big picture stuff for July I wanted to cover. So look at this more like a market preview for July a few days ahead of time. We'll probably cover this too a little bit in the weekend report, but I just wanted to really focus on something here today. So real quick, here's the ES. And you can see we came back up again basically late in the day. We gapped up on Friday a little bit. It was a pretty flat day, and then right at the close kind of rallied. Feels like somebody knows what the vote's going to come in at. I think by this point, probably the polling stations would have a good idea of what it looks like, and word may be leaking out. So there was a push late in the day. If you look at the intraday, see here's that late day run here in the last 20, 30 minutes of the market. So, obviously if it doesn't pass and then they stay in, that's probably better for the markets. We're already up for the last few months, so are we going to run after that or just kind of sell off on the news or just go sideways because it's the end of June? Hard to say. So I don't know that Friday is necessarily going to be super exciting. But, hey, once the vote's in, maybe. So we'll be around here at least early on to get a feel for volume, see if things do start to happen. We can go through what things closed at today really quickly, and then I'll talk about what I really wanted to talk about. So crude oil closed over 50, up 90 cents. Gold down 8.6. S&P up 27.87. Again, a lot of that, don't forget, as I said here, was the gap. Gapped up about 15 points and closed up about 27. So half of it was the gap, which is untradeable. NASDAQ also gapped up and ended up closing up 62. Just puts us pretty much mid-range for the year there. SOX up 18. There's a new high. Remember, this is what the pattern looks like on the S&P, by the way. I'll remind you, this inverted head and shoulders that broke out. Now all we did was pull back to retest the breakout point and curl up. So this is a real strong-looking pattern on the SOX. Biotech's curled back up a bit, up 58. The VIX dropped 3.78. Trend 0.52 as for the close. That brings the 10-day moving average down to 1.07. What's interesting here, though, is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so keep an eye on, if you count the 10-day moving average, look back at the last 10 dots. That's what gives you that moving average, right? Bars, days back 8, 9, and 10 were the readings up near 1.5. So that means on Friday, Monday, and Tuesday, those high readings are going to drop off the trend here. Remember, when we get a moving average, a 10-day moving average at about 0.85, that's usually a sell signal on the market. So if we get some fairly low trend readings to replace in the moving average those three high ones, that moving average can drop really quick. We're at least set up for the possibility. It's not possible when it's been kind of back and forth over the 10 days, but since the three high readings were 8, 9, and 10 days back, we could get it. So just something to keep an eye on next week. NASDAQ volume closed at just about 1.6 billion shares. Not very exciting. Again, 3 very light days. Advanced decline ratio positive 1781. One of the top days of breadth in the market in terms of more stocks up than down. That's on the NASDAQ. On the New York, it was positive 2,036. That's almost the highest of the year. Google gained 4 points, $4.40. Apple up 55 cents. Amazon up 11.48, still holding near the highs. Netflix up $1.64, and Tesla came back, was up a little. All right, so again, I'm not going to go through the intraday here. We'll see what we get tomorrow. What I really wanted to focus on more was let's look at the broad market. We'll go to the S&P cash index here and just talk about July. If you look at the bottom of the chart, obviously it shows you the months that the chart is time frame wise. So I'm going to slide back. Let's look at July of last year, and what you'll notice is that after everybody got back from 4th of July, we did sort of pop in the market. And keep in mind, last year from February all the way until the plunge in August, very, very, very narrow range on the S&P. Really some of the most boring 6 months of trading I'd ever seen. But if you look specifically at early July, there was sort of a move that at least covered that range from high to low, one of the bigger moves in that entire window. Let me go back another year. Let's go look at that. Was 2015. If you take a look here at July 2014, not much happened out of the gate, but there was more action in July late, and then the bounce back in August than anything that you see in June or May or April, essentially. Let's go back one more to 2013, and here you can see July started out, got through 4th of July the first couple days, and then boom, took off running. Right, here's 2012. Some decent volatility back and forth. Definitely a move down out of the gate and then back up. Right. Let's go to 2011, and then we'll call it. So 2011. Look at that. You start out and immediately look at the roll in July. People mistake. They think summer months mean slow. I will tell you this: July tends to have some movement somewhere. It won't start next Friday, which is the 1st of July, because everybody's already going to be gone for the 4th of July weekend. And then you've got Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday's a holiday. But on the 5th, somewhere at that point, now all the money in the big funds, they've locked into positions to print the statements next Thursday. They're already showing, or they will wrap it up Monday, Tuesday, what they want to show on their books for the quarter, for the end of the quarter. So, and it's also the end of the first half of the year. So some funds measure based on half year, some measure based on quarter, depending on what the institution is, and you get paid bonuses and whatnot. So after that, they're really free to move their positions around, and that's what starts to move the market. So at some point in July, you got to remember we've been kind of contained here because of this Brexit vote for the last two weeks, probably, I would say, causing the light volume, and they've been locked in place. When that's over, they can start to make bigger decisions about their portfolios and trading in general, and that starts in July. So it could be as early as July 5th, could be shortly after that, but I would look for a move in July. It usually happens, and then of course we know August things really start to shake free. I like August as a trading month. I always have. Last year it was solidly to the downside, obviously, we know that. But many years, August is actually one of the more positive months of the year from a trading perspective. Some of the bigger players take their vacations there, and so there's less short selling. And then September, the only month of the year that averages negative returns is September in the markets. But that's good because it means volatility, meaning a good chance it'll be a downward month and not just a flat month. So we're pretty much should be calendar-wise almost done with, not that volume is necessarily going to be huge in July necessarily, but almost done with this period. Maybe at most July is mostly flat with a week or so of good action, maybe 2 weeks, and they start to move those positions around. And then August, somewhere in there, things should start to go. So that's a good sign because obviously, we started out this year strong, coming off from last August, then January, February, March, which is great, terrific trading months. Lots of volatility. We're making lots of calls. That kind of died off a little in April, a little bit more in May, and then now June's been horrible. So, again, I think you're going to see some changes come July. That's what I wanted to focus on here. We'll have a market preview over the weekend to talk about the economic data coming out next week and probably the results of the vote at that point. And everybody have a great Trading Friday. We will be in the lab at least for the first 2 hours to see if anything's going on. Charts, as usual, brought to you by eSignal 12.